The Dark Gold and Dark Titan are two of the paid EAs from the developer of the popular Dark EAs, and they've been running on a demo account of mine for a little while now. I'm going to show you my detailed results, and you can decide if either of these is right for you. Stick around until the end and I'll show you which EA has performed best and the platform I'm going to trade that EA on to maximize my profits. Let's get started. Okay, so let's start by looking at the VPS where I currently have these two EAs running. And if we run through the trades very quickly, you can see that the first trade executed on the 20th of February. Now, this is a demo account that I'd started. I had another plan for it, but I ended up using it for these two EAs. So you'll see that the account was opened in December, but the first trade only executed on the 20th of February. And you can see that in that time, we've had quite a few trades. The vast majority of them have been profitable. A few small little losses here and there, but these all recovered. So for example, if you look at this one here, what you can see is this one closed at the same time as these three here, and these two were profitable and these two were negative, but overall it was profitable. Now this is a grid system. It's not a very aggressive grid. I've set it up so it's not very aggressive, but you will find that every now and then there are a few losing trades, and we will look at the equity drawdown in a little while when we look at the track record. But just running through it further, you'll see that the vast majority are positive trades, and at the end we have a profit after fees of 888, so just a little under 9%, and that is in about a month and a week. So the last trade executed on the 28th of March. Okay, so let's take a closer look at these results, and for that we're going to go to FX Blue. Here is the account here, and you can see that it's been steadily going up. If we look at the equity, you'll see that there isn't really much in terms of drawdowns to speak of. If we want to look at that in a little bit more detail, what we can do is go to the stats. From there we'll go to the charts. Okay, and for that we are going to select the floating profit and loss percent hourly. And what you can see is that the biggest floating loss that we had, or in other words the biggest drawdown that we had, the equity drawdown, was this one here, and this was less than 1.5%, so pretty good so far. Let's go further into the statistics and have a look at the strategies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to arrange these by net profit, and you can see that this EA here was clearly more profitable, executed many more trades, and it has a higher profit factor. And this one on the top is the Dark Gold. Now the Dark Gold is obviously trading on the gold chart, and the one that you see below that is the Dark Titan. That one I have trading on the Kiwi CAD, the New Zealand CAD, and it also has a pretty good profit factor of 2.77, but it isn't quite as active as the Dark Gold, and the net profit reflects that as well. Interestingly though, if you look at the winners and losers, you'll see that they are quite similar. So the Dark Gold had 89% and the Dark Titan had 82%. So both really impressive EAs. I guess if I change the settings a little bit on the Dark Titan, I could probably push it up a little bit, but I'm happy with where it is at the moment. I'm very happy with the results on the account. So I'm going to leave this as is for the moment. And then we have a whole lot of other statistics, and if you want to have a look at these, you are very welcome to. I will leave a link to this FX Blue account down below in the description, so you can have a look at it whenever you want, and you can see exactly how these EAs are performing. Now, if some of the metrics and stats that I've spoken about are new to you and you want to learn more about algo trading, join our free 21-day program. It includes free courses, free EAs, free resources, and a call with me. Everything you need to start, and it's 100% free. You'll find the link down below in the description. So as I mentioned in the intro, I am going to place this on a different platform now, and that platform that I've decided to use is going to be Darwin X Zero. Now, Darwin X Zero, I'm sure most of you already know, is a crowdsourced hedge fund, and how it works is you pay a subscription fee. So you pay a sign-up fee of 38 euros or $43, just depending on where in the world you are. And however, if you use the coupon code PETCO, you can get 20% off your sign-up fee. And again, I will leave a link for that down below in the description as well. So you have options of doing it monthly. There's also the yearly where you get a saving. And recently they introduced a 3-year plan. So not only do you get a 20% saving on your subscription fee, you also get, you can see that there's a promo, get a permanent allocation valued at $240 by signing up for a 3-year plan. So when it comes to the capital allocation at Darwin X, let's quickly run through it and I'll show it to you. You have a number of stages that you have to get through. So the first stage is the calibration phase. Now, whether you have permanent allocation or you're paying a monthly subscription and you are getting your allocation monthly, assuming that you reach the target, you will have to go through the calibration phase first. Once you've gone through that, you will start trading for a little bit, and then your Darwin will be built. Your Darwin will be established. And then you'll start in the silver phase. Now, when you go into the silver phase, basically you need a rating of over 75 to get your monthly allocation. Now, let me show you how that works very quickly. We're going to go to the calculator. Now, I'm going to show you in a second the EA and the backtest that I've selected, or the settings that I've selected for this platform based on my backtest. And essentially what we're looking at is a monthly return of 2.5%. Then the cumulative total over the last 5 months. So assuming that we have 2.5% per month, that equates to 12.5%. And the maximum equity drawdown that I got on the backtest was 15%. So we're going to put 15% in there, and we're going to click on calculate. What you can see that we have a rating of 82.28, and we have a potential allocation of 30,000 euros. So essentially what happens is, depending on how good your performance is versus your drawdown, you will get a rating. You need to have a rating of over 75 to get allocations, and you can get allocations every month. Now, you can get more than 30,000 if your rating is higher. With the permanent allocation, however, what you'll see is that if you opt to go for the 3-year plan, which we looked at a little bit earlier, what's included in that is this $240 for the permanent allocation, right? So what does that mean? You'll see that there's 15% here as well. And this is the option that we decided to go for in this account. What that means is that instead of having to get a rating higher than 75 every month in order to get my allocations monthly, if I reach 15% in the account, so based on the settings that I'm planning on using, I'm hoping that'll be about 6 months or less, I do not have to pay the additional $240. So you can get the full $100,000 in allocation immediately if you pay $1,200 additional. However, there are different tiers, and depending on which one you go for, that is the percentage you need in your account before you can actually get the permanent allocation. So as mentioned, on the 3-year plan, we have opted to go for that. That includes the 15% target, right? That includes the $240, so we don't have to pay the $240. And once my account hits 15% in growth, then automatically I'll get the 100,000 allocation. All right, so let me show you the platform, and let me show you the backtest results and the robot, the dark gold that we're actually going to be trading on. So let's quickly go to our DarwinX platform. Here it is here, and you'll see that I have already placed the EA onto the chart. Now what I have below here is the backtest results, and I'll show that to you. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to load the set file that I actually saved when I did these backtests earlier. So let me quickly load it. And what you'll see is that I have been trading the dark EAs for a while, and I've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of backtests to find the settings that I'm happy with and that I am comfortable with, right? And you'll see that all of these are the various set files that I have. But the one that we're going to load now is this one here. This is one I created most recently. Okay, let's quickly go to the inputs. We'll just look at this very quickly. You'll see that what I've done in this account is I've gone for a risk percentage. So not a fixed lot. I've rather gone for a risk percentage. And after doing a few backtests, I found that the results that suited me best were on 0.6%. I haven't changed too much else in here. There are a few other things I've changed, but I'm just going to hit start very quickly, and let's look at the graph, and we can see exactly what it's doing. Okay, so our backtest is finished, and what we can see is that we did have a few small periods of drawdown. This one here, to be fair, was a little bit longer. However, if we look at the backtest results, what we can see is that we only really had a maximum equity drawdown of 15%, as I showed you on the platform. And you can see that we have a total net profit of about 33,000. So that is a little over a year in trading. So it's a little bit under 3%, which is why when I showed you guys the calculator, I worked it out at 2.5%, because it's actually even a little bit higher than that. But I was using conservative settings. So you can see that this EA with the current settings based on the backtest would perform very well. Now, what is quite important is when you are backtesting specifically on DarwinX, the maximum leverage that you get on commodities, so on gold and silver and a few others, is in fact 1 to 20. So if you look at my settings, you'll see that I actually did run it at 1 to 20 on the backtest. So just be aware of that when you are running backtests. Try and match your broker's conditions as closely as possible to get the most accurate results. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to very quickly load this set file. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to close the tester. I'm going to go back to my chart, and what we do, so you can do this when you place the EA onto the chart, but my EA is already on. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to the expert list. I'm going to select the dark gold, go to properties, click on load, and I'm going to load the set file, which I use for the backtest. Click on OK, click on close, and and we are good to go. The EA is on. It is trading today, Sunday, so it won't execute any trades. But as of tomorrow, I expect it to be a few trades. So of course, I will leave this track record down below in the description for you, or you can have a look at it on our website. All of our results are there. They're public. We are completely transparent with all of our accounts. So you can see exactly how any of our EAs are doing on any of our accounts. And one more thing, while I am very happy with the results that I got on the backtest, it doesn't mean I'm going to stop backtesting. I'm going to continually test. I'm going to tweak a few settings. I'm going to change a few settings. I'm going to try different things because ideally I want to get my drawdown as small as possible and my profit as high as possible. That is where I'm going to get the best results, not only on this platform, but on any platform that I trade this EA or any EA on. Okay, so that's about it for now. I do have some plans for these EAs in the near future, and if you'd like to see what they are, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be the first to know when a video is dropped. If you missed my results using a free EA from the same developer, check out this video over here. Thank you for watching, trade safe, and I'll see you soon.